Hey, welcome to Deer Talk Now. With me is Paul Landberg from Wildlife Research. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it.
Hey, today we want to take a look at really educating people on scent elimination, and you guys are the masters. Tell me a little bit about your new products for this year.
New products for this year. Well, and when you talk about scent elimination, we do have a 32-ounce refill for our Scent Killer Gold, which is obviously a really popular product. A lot of times people have Scent Killer Gold spray bottles in their house, in their car that are maybe half empty, that type of thing. So we thought, well, let's just get them a cheaper, better price point refill bottle. So we have that bottle as well for sale for people this year.
See, and when you have that bottle with you, you know, a lot of times you're thinking, oh, I'm a little low, I'm not going to use it like I should, right? So this way covers me, I'm going to use it. And you guys aren't familiar with it, you can spray down with the Scent Killer Gold, you know, hang it, dry it, and then wear it. I mean, it lasts a long, long time. But don't be afraid to use as much as you want. I love it on my decoys. We use it a lot of times on decoys for when we're trying to get them in November. So
yeah, and I think one of the biggest, it's kind of almost a misconception the way people use it, or they don't know both the ways of using it. I mean, it's really meant you put it on your clothes, saturate it, let it dry first, and then put your clothes in your bins and that type of thing. But again, then when you get out there hunt, just before you go hunt, spray down again.
It's not going to hurt, right?
No, exactly. The more the better.
The other thing I'm really excited about are your new laundry strips.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting, I think. And it is so funny because, you know, when I talk to people about it, hey, have you ever used a laundry strip to do your laundry? And people are like, well, what do you mean? Everybody's used to the granular or the liquid form, and which we sell the liquid form as well, and it's a great product. But new this year is the ultra concentrated detergent strips, and what's nice about these are, you can feel how light that is.
Super light.
Yeah, but you can throw that in your backpack. You can throw that in your carry-on luggage, whereas, like, you know, carry-on luggage, let's say you're going on a hunt. If you have the liquid stuff, well, you can't have the liquid stuff in your carry-on luggage. It's too many ounces, right?
Even backcountry hunts, right? Early season, if you're going elk hunting and you're in, your clothes got all sweaty, all full of bacteria, boom. Take one of these out,
pull that out,
water. Yeah, absolutely.
Wash it up right there.
It is so cool.
So it's really cool, and people, and you know, the way they work is so nice too, because basically just a sheet you take out, rip it in half, throw it in there, and it starts to dissolve.
Yeah. Now we're going to get into my wheelhouse.
Sure.
So I love scrapes. I like mock scrapes. You guys had the ropes last year in the kit, which was a great kit, but it was kind of a lot, right? If a guy didn't know that he wanted it all.
Right.
So is that why you came out with this product?
Yeah, because so the kit you talk about comes with the 4-ounce scent concentrate, so the rope scent concentrate, and you can mix it up in that container with a bottle of water. And the container itself also comes with the 3 zip ties and the 3 ropes.
Yes.
So, you know, that's a certain price point, and that's still the best value for people. But the product did just phenomenally well for us last year. So we said, well, let's get it something for the guy or gal that are thinking about, hey, I'd like to try a rope scrape, but I don't want to go maybe full guns and get the 3-pack, if you will. So we came out with the single rope pack, and the single rope pack still has a zip tie for them, or a cable tie, whatever you want to call it, to hang up the rope. But it also has the 4-ounce rope scent concentrate, same one that was in the container with the 3 ropes, that they can use for scenting the ropes.
Okay, I'm brand new. Let's say I don't use a rope. You tell me what I need to do. How do I use it?
Yeah, it's actually really easy. We always say it's simple as 1, 2, 3. Basically, you hang that rope up from the end, and you fray the end of the rope. So you hang it up with the cable tie on a branch. It could be a branch using our active branch holder or a natural branch on a tree if it's the right height. The idea is to get the end that you're going to fray at about that 4-foot level so a deer can come up to it and kind of smell it, right? So that's the idea with that end. You mix the concentrate, and then which is 4 ounces of concentrate, with a bottle of water in a container of some sort. In this case, you have to get a container. But then you mix it, and then you just dip it up to the end of the rope, and that's pretty much it. So it's simple as 1, 2, 3.
What's amazing is how quickly deer will be attracted to it, right? I mean, you got it on video in your booth right now with literally a guy hangs a rope, and the next day there's bucks in it already utilizing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the guy you're kind of talking about there, I think, is my buddy Lee Lukoski.
Exactly.
And he literally put one up, and he put it up with a dripper. He put it up with dripper and a rope, and still dipped the rope. But he did both because we're kind of going with kind of trying to create the ultimate trophy buck playground, where we have that interaction site for deer to come to and give them many reasons to come there.
Exactly.
So if you think of a kid's playground, you got a teeter-totter and
give
you
them
got
all
a
the
swing.
toys.
You got all the toys, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Lee literally put one up. He had the dripper, had the rope, dipped the rope, and that was like November 6th. And the next day he had a buck come in, stop long enough for a shot, but of course it's never big enough for Lee, so he let it go. And then another buck came in behind that one, stopped a little longer, smelled the rope, hit that mock scrape itself. I mean, it was just phenomenal. It was the next day. It was just really cool.
The really cool thing about ropes is it's one of those visual stimulants. You know, I know once you put the scent on, but sometimes we don't get back to freshen ours up at all during the season, right? They're in one of those spots that we really, it's right in the core buck bedding area, right? And we only take a couple swings to try to kill them. We have our ropes already in since summer and cameras on it. And literally those deer are utilizing that thing almost on a daily basis, and it's just not bucks, guys. Does are going to come up to that. They're going to nuzzle it. They're going to do exactly like the bucks. It's one of those territorial things, and I don't know if you've had a chance to do this, but if you really want to screw with your whitetails, is cut that zip tie, pull that rope off, move it to one of your old ropes, take that rope and move it to the one you just put on. The deer will absolutely go nuts. So if you got this hard to kill whitetail, and he's a big deer, and he's coming to the rope, and it's after hours, like it's after legal shooting time, and it's, you know, it's core time. It's the end of October, and for me, that's when I like to try to kill my big deers at the end of October, because once November hits, dude, it's, I know everybody loves the rut, and I love it too. What you see out in the woods is amazing. But sometimes your big deer goes up to the farm field, and he hits a doe that's not from your place. He's back on the neighbors, right? I want to kill him when he's on mine, which is normally late October for our place. And we'll take those ropes and we'll flip them out. And those deer, like, because now they don't smell themselves on there, and they smell all these other bucks. And they will literally come earlier and earlier because they want to kick that other buck's tail.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing about it is, so when you think of it, we talked about it being an interaction site, and it's a rope scrape. It's basically like that rope is acting like that licking branch, and deer will hit a licking branch year-round. They might not paw the ground and that type of thing, but they come to that licking branch year-round. Well, that's kind of what this is working as, is that interaction point. And yeah, I mean, we've got pictures. So you can put these up in January, February, March if you want, and just get them going and starting to use it. And they'll come back to it.
We never take ours down, to be honest. We just always leave them in there, and the deer utilize them all year round.
Right.
And what's kind of it's interesting because like the bucks in November, late October, they're aggressively working the rope, right? I mean, but during the off season, you just see them up, and a lot of them are just sniffing it, and maybe give it a little tickle, and on they go. Same thing with the does. The does they smell it more than they really work it, but they definitely will work it, but. When it comes to crucial time, that's when they're going nuts.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody has a different experience with them, and it's a pretty cool thing just to make, like you say, that interaction site for them, because that's how they communicate.
Yeah, what I like about it, it really keeps that buck coming in that exact same spot day in. Off season, not so much. I mean, they might not hit it every week, but he's going to hit it every month. You know, I mean, they're going to come in there. They do their little circuit.
And it just depends. Even that, I've had it where it's it doesn't, maybe not coming all very often, but then there's be talking to a buddy and they'll have a trail cam pick. Look at this one, and it's like they're hitting yours.
Especially in food plots, I notice, like, if you have that in a food plot, the deer will be eating in there in the summer, and that buck will all of a sudden, because you got photos of him on the other side of the plot, next thing you know, he's right in your face, and he's just, working a little bit, and then he goes right back to eating. So.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea behind the whole playground thing. Give them something to get them in front of your stand.
Deer Talk Now is brought to you by Outdoor Edge and their new Ergomax 6-piece professional grade processing knife set. Take your wild game processing to the next level with this top-tier set, which includes 5 expertly designed knives tailored for every task. Plus, the included 2-stage sharpener ensures your blades stay incredibly sharp no matter the job. For more information, go to OutdoorEdge.com.
Let's take a minute and talk about SCENTS, because I know a lot of people are worried about CWD and literally the scents, because it is a natural product. What's your thoughts?
Oh, it's amazing conversation. I mean, because there's so many aspects to it, and really at our company, Sam Bergerson, our president, he's kind of our CWD expert, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows that stuff backward and forward, and I understand people's concerns, but the things that we've studied and things that we've looked into, and scientists involved and whatnot, in terms of a scent perspective, I wouldn't really be that worried about it. I know I'm working in the industry, so people might say, well, okay, yeah, you work there. But if you really look into some of the science behind it, I don't know that, a deer is going to, it's like we talked about licking branch. They're going to come up to that licking branch that another deer was at all the time anyway. And so there's a lot to it, and it's a loaded question. But some of our scents have no urine in them, so some of our scents are non-urine based at all. Like, for instance, the concentrate in here, it's not urine based.
Okay.
So some of our scents are, some of our scents aren't, and it's state dependent on terms of its use.
Yes.
And that type of thing. But wildlife, we do the RT quick testing, it's called, and so we test for CWD in that urine before we send it, and you'll see that in our packaging saying, hey, this is certified RT quick tested and that type of thing, because none of us, whether you're in the industry or not, wants to spread CWD.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. I was a deer hunter. This has been year 44 for me of bow hunting, and we're deer hunters first, right?
And that's the other thing. Think about how many years scents have been used, right? I mean, if you think about the longevity, when John Bergeson really came out with it, and I remember it was Trails End. John was a trapper. I mean, it's a great story how the company even came about. John was using a lure base. Basically, it was and I should know this. You probably know, what was that one called? It was Trails End.
307.
307.
The original.
And anyway,
started it all.
Yeah, he was using it as a trapping bait. And what he realized is he kept getting these deer prints all over it. And it's like, geez, maybe I should come out with a deer scent. And boom, it's...
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's almost like there's, the preconceived notions that we have about what a deer will or will not be attracted to, but you'd be surprised.
Oh, absolutely. But anyway, so if you think about the history of the scents and how long they've been there, and CWD has been a relatively new thing in the last, several years. But I believe, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a biologist. I think it's always been here because we have never really studied it. You know what I mean? Like they didn't do the research. They weren't testing whitetails until they found it. And once they found it, they found it in, out in Wyoming first, then Wisconsin. But it's all over the Midwest now. It's not like our Wisconsin deer all traveled down there. It probably was in that deer herd. It was just never tested.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist either, so I don't know all the ins and outs of it either. But, but it's certainly something that we have our eye on, obviously.
Exactly. You have to be, and you're doing the right thing,
Right.
If a guy doesn't want to use a urine-based sense,
get one of our synthetic products, or just anything non-urine based, those will help you too. So.
Okay, so your best synthetic, which one would it be? If I'm a hunter that I just don't want to use any kind of urine-based scent, which one would you recommend?
Oh boy, that's a loaded one too. Well, when I think when you say synthetic, you mean non-urine based?
Correct.
Specifically? Well, it depends on time of the year too. So you think of even one of our old standbys like bucknip. That's something that's more that curiosity, that type of thing. But we also have the new attractant scents in acorn and sweet corn, and so those types of things. And caramel apple is the other one we call it. And it's amazing how those things can work, and they're not considered bait, if you will, because those attractant scents are like they're kind of a food smell.
Yeah.
But you can use any of those types of things if you're concerned about that. And we also do have a synthetic lineup of scents that are made to smell like a deer urine. And that type of a thing. Even so for elk, we even have that type of thing.
Yeah, so there you have it. You have all kinds of scents. If a guy is really worried about it, he can use the synthetics. Sometimes we use synthetics in the scrapes and other things, and everything works. What the cool thing about a whitetail is they're a curious animal.
Right.
I mean, that's why they're curious about the ropes right away, and then once they have their scent, but they're also curious when they smell the acorn or the caramel apple. It's different in that area, and they're going to seek that out. And for you as a bow hunter, how should you be utilizing that? Let's just, as a bow hunter, think about where you want to shoot that animal, and that's where I'm going to put the scent. You got any other tips? I mean, like, literally, if I'm in my food plot, and a food plot's pretty big, I might spray some of that scent in one particular area, 20 yards from my stand, and where I think the deer is going to come, so I get that quarter and away shot. That's my personal. What are some tips you use?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the main ones, right? And the thing to keep in mind on some of these scents, or really any scent for that matter, I mean, it can work as both, the hunger, curiosity, sexual, depending on which scent it is. I mean, there's different ones for different things there. But it's also kind of cover scent in a way, right? So if you're using it, like Likoski will use golden scrape or golden estrus spray, and he'll spray it out the window, and he's just kind of spritzing the air. And it's just like it's a cover. Or Kiski, Don Kiski, I know, was mentioned in one of his videos that he was using. I think it was Golden Doe for him. But he was talking about, the wind was kind of, both Lee and him we have videos where they're talking about the wind was kind of marginal today. So I was using that kind of as a cover.
Yeah.
So it could attract them, but it's also kind of a cover.
I got a great little story. So one time we were using that exact strategy, right? And the wind's blowing down. And on one particular cold morning, all the scent must have drifted across our pond and then down, and it must have all landed like in this little flat of like ash trees, right? Mm-hmm. 4 little dinks, little 4-pointers. I think there was 3 4-pointers and a spike. Dude, they were running in there like it was the peak. Like they had the hottest doe in the world. There's no doe there. I'm just watching them. I'm like, they really have no clue what they're doing, but they're, because they can't, the air was in, and they just went in a fever. And then once the second buck came in, they're like acting like, oh my God, she's here. And it just kept on compounding. Yeah. And it was the coolest thing to see. It's probably one of my favorite hunts without seeing, any kind of shooter. Yeah. So it's a great way to get that into the air and let a buck think that dose and heat is close by, and they're going to come in here and check it out.
Well, even some of our packaging on some of our scents, so like just thinking some of like, whether it's special golden estrus or what have you, 307, we have the little diagram that tells kind of how to use them, and it's kind of weird because, we're so used to, especially as any kind of a deer hunter, but especially as like a bow hunter like I am, you want the wind in your favor and all those things, but when you spread those out, the wind might be at your back, and actually that's kind of what we have sometimes on the diagram. So it's actually blowing out to the deer, but hopefully they'll hit it before they hit your scent cone.
But you know this as well as I do. During the rut, like I don't worry. Yeah, exactly. I don't really worry about the wind as much. If it's early season, I'll never try to cheat the wind. I don't even try to. You know what I mean? Like it's normally right square in my face. But as you get closer to the rut, I'm going to lean towards my favorite stands because we got spots where literally there's deer trails all the way around you, and they can come from any direction, and I'm just going to sit there.
Right.
And you're wearing your scent killer. You already sprayed down, so you're pretty much scent free. And during that time of year, you can get away with a lot.
Well, yeah, and like you said, you mentioned the scent killer. I mean, I look at it as the system, and we always talk about it as a system. But if you're using our body wash and our antiperspirant deodorant stick, and then doing the scent killer on your clothes and all those things, and washing your clothes obviously first, and then scent killer them. I mean, it's all about tools to keep you clean, and then when you're in the field, all these other things are, again, just tools to hopefully increase your odds to get that deer there.
I'm amazed at how many guys are now using backpacks, because I've been using one forever, and I've carried in all my heavy gear, right? If you guys you'd laugh at me. You probably won't want to see me because I'm wearing just like my base layer out to the woods. That's what I'm going to wear in. I'm not going to get all sweated up. I don't care if it's 0 degrees, because I know I'm not going to get that cold walking in. And once I get to the tree, I'm going to put on all that stuff. So I'm trying to eliminate the bacteria from my sweat. And it's been so much more effective for me.
Yep.
When I was young, I didn't do that. I just put on all my clothes, get to my spots.
And you're already melting.
Yeah, exactly. And you spray down, and it's still effective, but there's so many bacteria in the inside of your clothes.
It's like we said, it's all about putting things as much as you can in your favor. It's almost incremental.
Yeah,
if you will,
exactly.
Right? So you just want to do everything you can.
What's one tip you can give anybody on utilizing scents?
Utilizing scents. Well, I think the best thing for us, and about our scrape dripper product. And by the way, I've got it here, but one of the things we've done with the rope kits too this year coming out for 2025, we have combos, because again, we're trying to go for create the ultimate trophy buck playground, if you will. And we have a combo where we have a dripper and a rope in it, kind of like the thing we were talking about with Likoski the other day, earlier rather, that he had put up back in November. But so I think, some of those old standbys, like that scent dripper, get those scent drippers up, get them up prior to the rut a little bit, that type of thing. But also a good tip is, like we said on these ropes, you put those ropes up anytime.
Yeah.
Literally put them up anytime so the deer, A, get used to them, and B, start leaving their own scent. And the hope is that, you can use our golden rope scent concentrate and refresh them throughout the year if you want. But sometimes, hopefully, and the hope is the deer will just take them over, and they'll do it themselves, and
Yeah.
you don't have to.
Yeah. My favorite
So.
thing, like other than food plots, I always put them at 20 yards. But if we got a trail, we try to do an exterior trail, right? So you can get
Yep.
easy access with a couple spots to go to the middle. That's kind of my goal. But we got trails to the inside that we never really walk on. So those are the deer corridors, right? As
Yep.
I call them. And I love to hang one of those right up in the middle. If we got to put a line all the way across, a rope, and then drop it down right in the middle of the trail, because every one of those is going to have just this monster scrape on it, because these bucks are just going to food plot to food plot to food plot, but they're taking these trails, and if you make it easy for them, it's a great way to keep buck inventory. So we put our trail cameras on there,
Yep.
and very seldom do we get or don't know of a buck. Even if it's a newcomer, he's probably going to come down one of those lanes, because we don't walk on them, right? He's going to see the rope. He's got to go in front of the rope, and literally, boom, now I got his picture. Okay, Brad, it's time to hunt. You got a giant, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a great way to hunt. And for the guy that, let's say a guy only has 40 acres, give me one tip for him.
The guy, 40 acres. So again, I'm biased as a bow hunter, I think.
Yeah.
Quite biased because of that. To me, scent elimination personally is everything.
Yep.
And how much pressure you're putting on that 40 acres. So you want to be, you're in and out as low key, as low impact as possible, but not smell like anything if you can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously you use your scents at the prime times that you want to, but you personally, as your body, your human odor is the key thing, right?
Yep.
So be as scent free as humanly possible.
Yeah, the other thing on that, I love that, because you're totally right. But then use your trail camera to tell you when to hunt. Don't go every single weekend. I love the
Right.
bow hunt, right?
So
I
do
love
I.
it. I love it. But there's weekends, and I used to when I was younger. I mean,
Yeah.
I made the mistake, and I chased my big deer away and
You
didn't even
burn
know
'em.
I chased
Yeah,
it
you
away.
burn it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So literally wait until your cameras are telling you, all right, and it might not be the biggest buck that's coming in, right?
Yep.
As long as you're getting that buck activity pretty regularly,
Yep.
they're all on their feet. It is a good time to go. Boom,
Right.
that's when I'm going to take my chance.
Yeah, low impact I think is the key to all that.
Especially on a smaller parcel of land.
Smaller parcel for sure, because otherwise you end up seeing, you get that text and it's the picture of the neighbor with the buck you were after.
Exactly, and that's what you don't want to happen. And it happened to us this year, but it wasn't like we were
Happened
putting
to me
pressure
too.
on him.
Happened to us too.
For us, we didn't put pressure on him. It was just one of those things. He did a walkabout, cold front moved in. He was
Yeah.
going out to eat, and unfortunately, he wandered off the reservation. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
happens to us all.
It does, and it speaks to the having multiple spots if you can. And people say, well, I've got 40 acres. I'm going to hunt that 40 acres. It's almost like the tendency when you get your own ground is to pound it.
Oh,
Because
I
it's
know.
your own ground and it's easier, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to ask anybody. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to go to public, whatever. But, you look at like Steve, right? He and the public ground
Oh, yeah.
and the different things. It's good if you can have multiple spots just so you don't burn something out.
And even if they're small, it doesn't matter. And,
Right.
and let those trail cameras kind of scout for you.
Right.
It's great
Low
to walk.
impact.
Yeah, walk the property, not during the season, right?
Right.
Do it off season. My favorite time to really preseason scouts is that March time frame, because
Yep.
the woods are getting less snow, but you can see all the rut signs there, all the scrapes are still there, and then kind of move in. But that's basically it. So. This is the end of the Deer Talk Now. Tune in to next week's show. I'm Brad Rooks. Thank you, Paul, for attending. This
Thanks
is
for
some
having
great
me.
information for all the whitetail guys. Don't be afraid to test your scent. Don't be afraid to utilize. Don't be afraid to try different
Try
things.
new things.
Try.
Yep.
Because something's going to be a home run. And when you hit the home run, you're going to be like, oh, yes. Good luck next season. And that's all I have.